Hey folks, this is JR with DIY Prepper. Welcome to the channel. Hurricane season was late getting started this year, but things are definitely starting to pick up. And if you live in a coastal area and you're having to evacuate your home, there's a lot that you're going to be worried about. Of course, you're going to be worried about the safety of you and your loved ones as you're on the road, but also wondering what your home and the stuff inside of it's going to look like when you get home is always going to be a lingering thought, because as much as you may want to, there is absolutely no way that you can take everything with you on the road that you may want to protect. So today I'm going to show you all a cheap and easy way that you can protect things like important documents, pictures, and other small items from water damage caused by things like flooding and then leaky roofs. And it's also going to do a good job protecting it from most other physical damage as well. To do this, you're going to need a Mylar bag, a 5-gallon bucket with lid, and some silicone sealant. Now when it comes to Mylar bags, the large 5-gallon bucket liners are going to be the easiest to use, but if you just want to store small things like letters and envelopes or just loose 4x6 pictures, then you can use the smaller 1-gallon bags if you want to. This is going to provide a very good waterproof first level of defense for those documents. Now, if you don't have Mylar bags, you can use Ziploc bags, but they're not going to provide nearly as much protection. Any 5-gallon bucket will do since you're not going to be storing food in this, but I do recommend trying to find a flexible, soft rubber style lid like this one. I picked it up at Tractor Supply for a couple dollars. It's going to make getting the lid off at the end a lot easier. Now, of course, you can pick up Gamma Seal lids if you want this to be reusable and super easy to get off, but those are way more expensive. This lid I think costs $2, and a Gamma Seal lid is up to around $12 now, depending on where you buy it. Silicone sealant will be used to adhere the bucket to the lid and give it a watertight seal, and I do recommend silicone over like latex caulk just because that silicone is going to be much easier to work with. And if you're only doing 1 or 2 buckets, then a small tube like this one will probably work fine. And in addition to providing another waterproof layer, the bucket and lid is going to protect the items inside from physical damage and prevent the bags from getting punctured. Now, some of y'all might be thinking that with doing all this, I'm going a little bit overboard, but my logic is that if a document or a picture is this important for me to want to protect it, then I want to do everything in my power to make sure that it is, even if it seems like I'm going a little bit overboard. If using a 5-gallon Mylar bag, start by placing it in the bucket and spreading it out inside as much as you can. Having as much space as possible will let you place several documents or pictures inside at once. You can even put them straight in from your filing cabinet. And you could also use one of these to hold several small frame pictures as well. After you place your items inside the bag, seal it up. Bags with zippers at the top make this much easier, and you can use something like a hair straightener to heat seal them. Just be sure to seal it all the way across. Then fold the rest of the bag down into the bucket. From there, apply a small amount of silicone to the inside of the lid where it closes onto the bucket. It doesn't need to be too thick as long as there's a thin ring going all the way around. Then quickly press the lid onto the bucket, making sure that it's seated all the way down around its entire circumference. It may be a little bit harder to put on than normal. You may notice a little silicone oozing out, and that's fine. If any drips inside the bucket, then the bag should protect your documents. After that, let the silicone set. It should be ready to get wet in around 30 minutes, but I would avoid stacking anything on top for at least 24 hours to give it time to fully cure. Another good thing about this method is that since 5-gallon buckets have handles, then you can run something like a rope through those handles and then tie them to something heavy like a bed, so that if your house floods and windows break, your stuff isn't just going to float off. Now when the storm's over and you're ready to get your items out of the bucket, you can use something like a heat gun to soften up that silicone so you can hopefully pull the lid off. And if that doesn't work and you use one of the soft lids I described earlier, you should just be able to cut through it with a utility knife. This isn't really meant to be a multi-use thing. This is just kind of meant to be a cheap, fast way to protect stuff that you don't want to get ruined. Now, if you want something that you can reuse over and over and over again, of course, Gamma Seal lids, they're great. I use them for my dog food to keep them dry outside, and they work fine for that. They're also really good for something that you take on and off a lot. So I hope this was useful for you guys. Thank y'all for stopping by. Y'all stay safe.